17 days. That's all the time that separates today from the vaunted A10 tournament. Dreams will be made and broken all the same. And Fordham looks to keep their proverbial eye of the ram as they try to attain their ultimate goal. In this long marathon, today's leg features another all-Ram showdown as Virginia Commonwealth enters the Rose Hill Gymnasium angry, riding a 5-game losing streak with last time out against St. Louis being an absolutely devastating 3-point loss after losing a large lead in the third. The maroon and white seem to be a bit happier these days as a late game 3-point shot by Shea Harris is able to secure Fordham their first win in 5 games, 61-58. 17 days. I'll repeat it. That's all the time that is left until March 5th. And if for both teams, the run starts now. The maroon and white clash with the gold and black as it's play for K. And it's all next on WFUV Sports. Lift every voice, the national anthem. The introductories are soon to be underway from the historic Rose Hill Gymnasium here in the Bronx, New York of Fordham University. I am Madi Dembele on play-by-play commentary, joined by the oh-so-illustrious Benjamin Oppenheimer. He's your color guy for today. Fordham Rams versus Virginia Commonwealth Rams. Ben, again, if you're both teams, you look forward to the tournament March 5th. 17 days, as I just said in the open, is all that separates this point from the tournament. You want to put your best foot forward. What are the implications for both teams as we enter this game?
Yeah, Madi, it's great to be with you. I'll tell you what, the season goes by so fast, you blink and you might miss it. Really, this is an interesting time in A10 play right now. You know, you're at the point in the season where you're getting closer and closer to the conference tournament, as you noted, but you still have to stay focused. You have to finish strong, not including this game. Fordham's got 3 games left, and they've been up and down as of late. They had 3 losses in a row, an overtime loss at St. Louis, then a loss at George Washington, and then a loss versus George Mason here in the Rose Hill Gym, but then a win at LaSalle. So they've been up and down, especially since that win over Dayton that I was there with. I believe it was Chris Carino on the call. So it's been a while since I've done a game. It's great to be back here, but this team's dynamic has changed a little bit. You know, struggled a little bit, but 7-6, still over 500. They're looking to get a win over a VCU team that has really struggled at 2-11 in the conference, but it's also going to be difficult without Taylor Donaldson on the floor. She's not going to be here starting tonight, be on the bench. So looking at how they're going to adjust to that Taylor Donaldson, that's what I'm looking for, Madi.
Both Benjamin and myself had the opportunity to speak to head coach Jet Mitchell. Coach's sound coming at you right now.
So, Coach, before today's game, we saw Taylor Donaldson on the sidelines wearing sunglasses. Can you give us an update on her status for this game?
Yeah, she won't be available this game. Maybe, hopefully next week.
Okay.
All right, looking at the other side, we're going to run a spotlight. Mariana Sarre, right, big-time scorer, mirrors a lot of Taylor Donaldson. You get 37 in the month of January, which is a VCU, I believe, franchise high there. Defensively, what are you looking to do with her? Are we throwing double teams? Are we going to stick our best man on her, box and one? How you handle that kind of scoring prowess?
Yeah, when we're one pass away, we're going to try to deny her the ball, but not like anything like face guard or anything like that. It's just going to be more so on the opportunities that we can when she's close to the ball to just deny her the chance of catching it. And then we're going to make every mid-range and 3 contested. So rather her shoot those than to get to the rack is kind of what we were looking into.
Coach, you got 3 games left in this season. It's a long season, obviously. There's no all-star break in college. How do you stay, energetic and fresh in these last 2 games before the A-10 tournament?
I think that it's really just important for us to seize each game as an opportunity.
Coach, if we talk about another spotlight on your team, again, with Taylor being out, Shea Harris, she had a wonderful game last time out against Salle, right? Hits the big three to win you the game. Is there a conversation with her telling her that she has to step up, or are you guys looking at this holistically as a team effort, or are you just rolling the ball out there telling him to go get it done?
Yeah, holistically as a team effort, because, you know, Taylor is majority of our scoring, right? And she's a huge presence defensively, so we're missing a lot there at a crucial moment in the season. But I think that it's important to note, you know, Shea was one of the people that scored double digits. Anastasia was one of the people. Tay was one of the people. Arene was one of the people. So if those four do it, and then we get bonus points from anybody else that's looking to, you know, really earn their keep and show that they've been working hard all season, we love that. And so I think with having those four, hopefully they show up and have confidence to go out here against the VCU team.
Head coach jumping right into play here. It's going to be Parham underneath, corralling the rebound. Valentina Ojeda, she's going to head to the free throw line for them. First foul there for the Rams. Starting lineups for both teams. Again, Benjamin, we talked about the fact that Taylor Donaldson will not be playing tonight. Anastasia Veljovic, Shea Harris, Rose Nelson, Irina Murwa, and Taya Davis is the 5 for the Fordham Rams. They're going to have to go it alone without TE3, 16.8 points per game here. As the first free throw by Ojeda is nailed. She's out there with Mariana Sare, Grace Hudson, Mikhail Parham. And rounding out the fifth spot there, it's going to be Zoli Khalil. So that's going to be the starting five for both teams. Taya Davis making it past the Fordham letter script. Davis waiting for the Harris action. Harris free throw line extended, far sideline. Gets her a 15-foot shot that she loves so much, and it's pure. Ladies and gentlemen, 2-2 all. Asare, give and go action with Khalil. Khalil now attacking from right to left. Hudson going around the Parham screen, dribbling with the right hand. Guarded by Davis up top. It's going to be a out-of-bounds violation here. Way of got a little bit too much foot on the sideline, so Fordham's going to get another crack at this possession.
And I'm wondering, with the absence of Taylor Donaldson, who's going to take up the majority of the offensive production here? Is it going to be Shea Harris? Is it going to be Tay Davis? We're not sure yet, or it could be more. We'll see what happens in these next few minutes.
As Davis makes her way towards the middle of the floor, and the floater from about 15 is good. So Fordham in the restricted area, 4-2, all home team. Asare trying to force the pass, gets bobbled by Velovic. Back out top. Khalil lines up a three, and it's good. Pure. 8:25 left to go in quarter number one. VCU up a single point, 5-4. Taya Davis making it past the 10-second line, guarded by Hudson. Dribble handoff with Veljovic. Goes around the mortar screen, hesitation dribble. Bounces off her foot, and Asare in transition. The Rams pushing now. That's going to be Virginia. Takes the middle 12-footer, no good. Harris pulls down the rebound. And Fordham with yet another opportunity. As Davis retreat dribbles. Far side corner, top of the key, Harris. Guarded by Asare. Davis over to Nelson in the deep corner. Nelson puts a shoulder into the defense, puts up the layup, no good. Kisses the top of the rim there. As VCU's gonna get another possession here. And again, Ben, it's been something that's been going on for Fordham all year long. Basket just seems to be getting smaller and smaller. Nelson's gonna take a seat here.
Yeah, that's a tough break there, but look, it's a good play. Driving to the basket, staying aggressive. That's what you got to do with that Taylor Donaldson on the floor. Just continue to work that offense and try to get the best open shots that you can.
Virginia Commonwealth dribble handoff, top of the key. Asare, she's going to get another chance at three here, and it's good. She had 37 in the month of January, and she lines up a 3, 7-28 for VCU.
She's dangerous from beyond the arc. You got to keep an eye on her on the perimeter. Keep the pressure up.
Shea Harris, free throw line extended. Over to Davis, top of the key. Back over to Harris. Harris puts up a three. That's going to be no good. Pulled down there by Irina Murwa. Amongst the trees, she tries to go it alone, and she gets it. The patented drop step is good. 6-8, VCU still in front.
That was beautiful. Such a great effort on that one. Muscling her way inside to get it for two, showing the value and productivity that she adds to this program.
6:45, 8-6. VCU still in the league, but Kayla Barry with a steal. 2-on-1 advantage for VCU in transition. Shay Harris fires up the three. Far side corner. It is good. 9-8, 6:30 left in quarter number one. Fordham is rolling.
Back and forth game here in the Rose Hill Gym already.
Fordham playing with a different level of life. 6:20 left in quarter number one. 9-8, the home team advantage. Post touch for Asare, working on the smaller Davis. Faces the double team, gets it up and over two. And she converts on the basket. 10-8, 6 minutes left to go in quarter one.
And I've said it before, I'll say it again. She's dangerous, not only from the outside, but in the paint as well.
Emma Wilson-Saltos there on the sideline. She's soon to check in for the first time in this game. Harris denies the Murua screen, goes to the mid-range shot. It's going to clink off front rim, pulled down by Parham. Maya Giles-Jones is going to pick up the foul there, trying to get her hand in the cookie jar, strip it away from Parham. And here we go, change in substitution. Ojeda will sit into the game for the very first time. Lucia Sotelo, sophomore forward, 6'1", out of Orense, Spain. She's going to get some spin here for Virginia Commonwealth. Taya Davis will also take a seat. Camilla DePool had herself a very, very good game against George Washington, played down the stretch, where she scored 5 big points to keep Fordham in that one. That was ultimately a loss here. As we continue play, 5:40 left in quarter number one. 10-9, VCU with the advantage. Khalil goes around the Parham screen, working on DePool. And DePool quickly in the game. She's going to pick up her first foul, pleading with the refs, trying to urge her case.
And I want to note that both teams shooting fairly well so far. VCU shooting 60% from the field, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Fordham 57% and also 50% from beyond the arc. So both teams playing efficiently on the offensive end so far as she makes her first there.
There's going to be Zoli Khalil again. This is Benjamin Oppenheimer articulated. She hits the first one, already with 4 points in this game. Perfect from the free throw line. Second one is up, and second one is indeed butter. Natalia Zoli at the free throw line there. Excuse me, it's going to be Zoli Khalil. Sophomore guard, 6 foot, out of Harrisburg, Virginia. 5:30 left in quarter number one, 12-9, VCU still up. Wilson-Saltos high post touch deep inside to Rose Nelson, who fires back outside. Hockey assist, Shay Harris into the 15-footer, no good. But Wilson-Saltos, she's going to try to get the rebound, but again, not able to corral it inbound, so VCU gets the basketball back.
You know, you have to admire the effort to keep that possession alive, but sometimes you can be a little overly aggressive in getting the shot that you want. You know, you have to play it at a certain pace, keep it under control. That's been an issue that Fordham has faced this entire season. They just need to maintain that composure, be poised, and see the opportunities that come.
Soraya Griffin, for the first time in this game, freshman guard, 5'7", Virginia Beach. Top of the key. Deep inside touch there. Fordham kind of bobbled the pass, but the connection between Khalil and Parham was there. 5:03 left in the first quarter, 12-3. Not much scoring in this miniature stretch here. Khalil, trigger man, looking for the release. Inside to Asare. Asare, quick fire three, and it's pure, nothing but absolute net. 15-9, VCU.
She is punishing the Rams already. A Ram punishing the Rams. We'll see if she continues to stay hot throughout this one.
Nelson working there on Sotelo. Back out top the pool. Amaya Ferguson going around the Salto screen, gets to the left-hand shot, and it's good. From about 15 to 11, 4:30. VCU still with the advantage, pushing in transition. Asare, another three, it's up, and it is good. She is catching fire once again, ladies and gentlemen. Marianne Asare, she is here to stay. 18-11, 4:20 to Poole, getting it past the 10-second line. Waiting for the screen. Ferguson fires up a three of her own, no good. Left side rim. Asare, head on the swivel, looking for another pass. Gets it to Khalil. Khalil from about 12, no good front rim. DePool hitting the ground hard there. Top of the key, Asare swings over to a wide open Griffin. And she makes her way all the way to the basket. Dump-off pass inside to Parham. And Virginia Commonwealth finding new life, 20-11, 3:40 in the first.
You really have to stop the bleeding here. Asare just continuing to get whatever she wants. You have to make some adjustments on the defensive end.
And again there, ladies and gentlemen, a campfire around the basketball. Rose Nelson hits the ground hard. And that's going to bring us to our first timeout, under 5 media timeout. So we're going to kick it back to the studio with updates there.
So, Coach, before
I'm Chaz McAdams.
and I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
And we are two of your hosts for On the Hill, the flagship podcast of Fordham Athletics.
We'll be talking about everything from football at Moglia Stadium
to hoops at the historic Rose Hill Gym.
discussing the ins and outs of all Ram athletes, teams, and big games.
If you want to be part of the Ramily, then listen to On the Hill from WFUV Sports.
My apologies for that one. Updates from the studio are usually after the quarter. We have our media time.
Getting a little ahead of yourself there,
Yeah,
Madi.
I know. I'm excited for this one because it's been firing on all cylinders for both teams, 20-11 here. But it tells so much more than just 9 points. The Virginia Commonwealth Rams up on the home team, Fordham Rams. But both teams shooting very, very efficiently from the field, Ben.
Yes, they are, but right now it looks like VCU playing even more efficiently thanks to Mariana Asare, the junior guard from Ontario, Canada, the preseason All-Atlantic third-team selection this season. She missed the last game due to injury, but she is the main scorer for this VCU Rams team, leading with 15.4 points per game, shooting an efficient 41% overall from the field, 35% from three. You definitely have to make some adjustments. I'm interested to see what Coach Mitchell is doing during this timeout to reorient the defense around Asare, because she is forcing this Fordham team to make immediate adjustments, and you just have to see if those adjustments will work.
Yeah, Mariana Asare got better every single season. Last time out, she played at Fordham University. She didn't have a good game, but she comes back to the Rose Hill Gymnasium, a very polished and grizzled vet. Again, we talked about her having a franchise record at VCU, 37 big ones back early January. So she's a three-level scorer who's able to get it from anywhere, a bucket in all sense of the word there. So Fordham gonna have to throw everything at her. The defensive book, if I do say so myself, at one Mariana Asare. And it's an attack that also comes deep, 14.5 points per game for Mariana Asare. 15.4 points per game for Mariana Asare. Got the numbers confused there.
And last season she was great too. She scored in double figures in 19 of the 31 games played last season. She only missed one game due to injury, so very durable player as well. And really overall just a dangerous aspect, the main aspect of this VCU offense that's leading the charge against Fordham here in the Rose Hill Gym.
And again, as we're soon to be underway, once again, the Fordham Rams going the distance without one Taylor Donaldson. Out of bounds, baseline there. It's going to be Taya Davis. Slap of the ball indicates play, looking for the release, gets it into Harris. Harris near side wing. Deep inside post sets for Mudwa, looks for the pass. Working on Sotelo, goes inside, and she gets the gentleman roll. 20-13, the Rams trailing the Rams. Quickly in transition, Khalil underneath the basket, blocked cleanly by Rose Nelson. Kept alive into Asare. Sotelo, deep into the paint. Back outside, Soraya Griffin. Over to Khalil. Griffin lines up the three. It's up. Clanks off front rim, and today Harris pulls down the rebound. She's back into the game. Davis past the maroon script. Guarded there by Khalil. Faces the double team. Hospital pass over to Mudwa into the Veljovic action. There's going to be a foul there by Sotelo. Crashes right into Veljovic. 2:47 left in the first quarter. 20-13. Virginia Commonwealth still with the lead, but Fordham another crack at this proverbial egg.
So what's interesting here is that both teams, even though VCU is leading by 7, both teams shooting 54% from the field. But what's interesting is VCU is 4 for 5 from 3. Fordham only 1 for 3 from beyond the arc.
Harris guarded by Asare. Around the Nelson screen with the right hand. Up from about 15 front rim. Probably would have wanted to see a foul on that one.
Yeah, she was kicking her leg out trying to get the contact on that one.
As bodies hit the floor there, VCU is going to get the jump ball call. As Soraya Griffin makes her way past the 10-second line. Guarded by Veljovic. Asare receiving the dribble handoff. Gets a wide open 3. No good. Back rim, but Khalil corrals the rebound. Puts up the floater. No good. Satila with the rebound. Asare over to Griffin. One more pass into the corner for Khalil. It's up, and it is pure. Virginia Commonwealth lighting it up from 3. Up 10, 23-13. Davis past the 10-second line. Guarded by Griffin. Nelson gets the post touch from about 17. Jab step. Trying to work on Lewis. Veljovic lines up a shot of her own, and it's good. 16 points for the Fordham Rams. They're trying to come back into this one. Virginia Commonwealth saying differently as Khalil attacks baseline, goes into the chest of Nelson. No good. Back out top for Asare. Asare's going to line up a deep 3. That's off. And it's going to stay here with VCU as the ball hits Murua's foot. More substitutions for both teams. Carissa Antoine and Amaya Ferguson back into this one.
This has been such a fast-paced game so far. I also want to touch on the rebounding, usually a strong suit for Fordham, but right now VCU out-rebounding the Fordham Rams 12-3, and especially offensive rebounds 7-1.
Asare, deep corner, coffin corner, 3-point shot, and she has been money all game long. VCU up 10 once again on the Fordham Rams. 1:20 to play. Taya Davis past the tie line. Opts for the Antoine high post touch. Antoine off to Veljovic, working on Asare. And it's going to stay here with the Fordham Rams. Foul's going to go the way of Parham. Murua's going to draw the foul. 1:10 left to go in quarter number 1. 26-16, Fordham in the hole. Out of bounds baseline play there. Taya Davis slap with the ball indicating play. Looking for the release to Murua. Dribble handoff to Davis, top of the key. Spin move amongst 2, puts up the shot, and she's going to get the foul called there. Another stoppage in play, 104. Soraya Griffin's going to pick up the foul here as Shea Harris makes her way back into the game. Anastasia Veljovic will take a seat for Fordham. Head coach Bridget Mitchell trying to keep fresh legs on this one, Ben.
Yeah, and, you have to admire how bold Davis is in driving to the basket, especially for her size, as she misses the first, but she's a key aspect of this offense, a playmaker, but also an adept scorer, someone who can knock down a 3 or mid-range, but also get fouled.
And she misses the second there. Taya Davis goes 0 for 2 from her first trip at the free throw line. Fordham leaving points on the ground. Hudson over to Griffin, top of the key. Griffin directing traffic from left to right. High post touch for Ojeda, looking for the backdoor cut. Deep in the post, Asare working on Harris. Griffin on Davis. Faces the double team, gets blocked out of the sky by Harris. In transition, Fordham turning on the Jets. Davis momentarily losing the dribble. Murua fakes the 3, looks for the pass inside, picks up the dribble. Ferguson's jab step 3-pointer is up, and it is good. 26 seconds left in this one, 26-19. VCU still up 7. Shot clock is now turned off. VCU trying to go for the last shot of this one. Ojeda. Dribble handoff to Asare. Cross-court pass is stolen out of the air by Shea Harris. Hospital pass there by Asare. Given up to Davis. 5 seconds left on the clock. Lines up a 3. It's up, and it's good. Taya Davis with the big-time 3. And just like that, it's a 4-point affair. 26-22 for the Rams' newfound life. VCU trying to keep them away, and that is a first quarter for the books, Benjamin Oppenheimer.
Well, I'll tell you what, they couldn't have ended that quarter in a better way. Those 2 knockdown 3s, one on the right corner and then one right at the top of the key, just putting them within 4 when they were originally down 10 only a minute or so ago. And it just shows how quickly the dynamics of a game can change with two quick threes like that, and also shows the importance of Taya Davis to this offense in facilitating but also knocking down the shots. And Fordham only down 4 heading into the second quarter. You wonder, can they start to ignite themselves, get on a run, and take back control of this one?
26-22, Virginia Commonwealth still up in this one, but Fordham playing with fire, playing with vigor. We're going to kick it back to studios finally. Couldn't wait to get that one out. It's going to be the up one-on-one scoreboard with Frank Spicuzza. Frank, please take it away.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
While the Rose Hill Gymnasium is aflame with competition, the A10 Conference is equally red-hot with a slew of unexpected wins and heartbreaking defeats. Here's a look at the women's basketball slate across the conference this weekend. Just last night, the Rhode Island Rams triumphed over the LaSalle Explorers in a dominant 77-54 win. Mirroring the Rams' hefty win, the Dayton Flyers took down the George Washington Colonels 66-51. Wrapping up last night's basketball frenzy, the Duquesne Dukes slipped past the Loyola Chicago Ramblers in a 75-70 shootout victory. The action doesn't stop at last night, however, as the St. Bonaventure Bonnies currently trail Davidson Wildcats 22-42. In an equally heated matchup, the St. Louis Billikens currently lead the Richmond Spiders 11-5. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Frank Spicuzza.
From the Rose Hill Gym here, once again, play for K. Everybody donned in the wonderful pink here, and we have ourselves a wonderful game for the Fordham Rams. 22 points through the first quarter. You looking for that approach, that strength in numbers sentiment head coach Bridgette Mitchell has tried to instill in this team, particularly with Taylor Donaldson out, but a few key players here, Anastasia Velovic, Taya Davis, Camilla DePool, they will see heavy minutes in this one, Ben.
It's tough with Taylor Donaldson out and how you adjust that, but players are picking up the offensive slack. You've got, when you look at Tay Davis, she's got 5 points. Shay Harris got 5 points. Mora's got 4. Then Ferguson's got 5. So really, it's sharing the offensive load, that production. It's going all around. It's evenly distributed. And then Fordham also shooting 60% from the field, 66% from beyond the arc. VCU's now down to 44% overall from the field and 66% from beyond the arc. So I think what's interesting is VCU is shooting 44% overall, but 66% from 3. That's because of how good Asari has been knocking down those shots. So really to get back in this second quarter and go on a run, take control of the momentum, you have to lock down Asari on the perimeter, make sure she's not getting those easy shots that she can hit.
Yeah, Marianne Asari, 7.1 points per game last year, 3.5 as a true freshman. Now she comes into this one up to 15.4. Fordham with a tall tax ahead of them as deep in the corners, Taya Davis attacking baseline. Inside pass to Irina Murua is good. The 2-on-1 there on the baseline is money, 26-24. VCU up a slim margin of 2. Dribble handoff to Hudson. Moving from right to left. Khalil around the Barham screen. Dribbles the fumble. And stolen by Harris in transition. She has Ferguson up ahead. Ferguson trying to go it alone and is blocked. But not before the foul there on Zoli Khalil. So Amaya Ferguson's going to have a chance here at the free throw line, 9:23 to open the second quarter. Again, the momentum from both teams has been amazing. They've been able to take it from quarter to quarter here. Fireworks, Ben, I would say. 26-24. Amaya Ferguson here at the free throw line. First one is up. First one is good for Amaya Ferguson. Sophomore guard, 5'8", St. Stephen, South Carolina. 6 points on the game today. She had that big triple earlier on. That's the second one is up. The second one is indeed pure. We are all square at 26. Fordham employing the press deep in the backcourt. 9:20 left in quarter number 2, right before half. Barham working on Murua. Deep touch inside. And the Rams corral around Murua. Strip the ball out of bounds. VCU going to have another shot at this underneath the basket. Hudson going to be the trigger man, slapping the ball, indicating play. Release point is going to be Asare as she hits the ground hard there. Harris with her hands up. 13 seconds left on the shot clock. 9:03, 26-26 all. Ojeda jacks up the three, and it's good. Take a wild swing, you might hit a home run. 28-26, foot on the line there, so the long range two. As Taya Davis makes her way past the maroon script, dribble handoff with Ferguson. Antoine moving on. Ojeda tries to get the flip to go. That's going to be no good. Osari pulls it down and is moving in transition. Gets it past Shay Harris, and Harris recorded her second block of the game. She takes it past the 10-second line. Fordham moving in transition, hesitates to dribble. Up and over there. She's not going to get the foul. She hits the ground hard. Hudson.
A little too confident on that one.
Azare into Ojeda. Back out to Hudson. Deep post touch there for Parham. She gets it up and over Mudua. So just like that, VCU up 4 once again, 30-26. 8 minutes exactly left in quarter number 2. As Davis controls for the Fordham attack, moving from left to right. VCU faithful screaming defense. Amaya Ferguson, top of the key. Davis, crossover move on Hudson, gets the float up and no good. But Antoine's going to get the rebound, puts the shot up, and she gets it from close range. 30-28, 7:37 left in this one. VCU up 2.
Love the effort on that one. Keeping the possession in play with that offensive rebounding. That's the character of this Fordham team we've seen all season long.
Iverson cut there for Khalil. Inside pass to Ojeda. Gets it from Barham. A little bit of two-man action there as they're able to get the 2 points back. Davis past the 10-second line. Working on 2, and she gets it up, and she gets it to go. 32-30. 7 minutes and 5 seconds right before halftime. An interesting game, ladies and gentlemen. Hudson working on Davis. Into Ojeda. And Khalil's going to fire from about 13. That's going to be no good. Antoine's going to come down with the rebound. Much to the dismay of Parham, and Davis once again past the Fordham logo. Now attacking from right to left, near side wing. Guarded by Asare. Top of the key pass to Ferguson. Thinks about the 3. 6:35 left in this one. Harris working in from about 14. It's up. No good front rim, but Murua almost gets hands on it, and Parham is going to slam it on the ground. Not able to get the doink off of Ferguson, so Fordham's going to stay with possession. Shay Harris is going to take a seat. Kayla Berry, Rose Nelson into the game. Clarissa Antoine will also head to the bench. 6:26 left right before half. 32-30. An even enough matchup from start to this point. Fordham possession. Taya Davis in front of the VCU sideline. Gets it into Ferguson. Back out top. 6:20 left to go in quarter number 2. Davis slow burning, working slowly on Griffin. High post touch for Kayla Barry. Over to Nelson. Nelson puts a shoulder into the body of Khalil there. And Davis over 2, gets it to go once again. A little bit of spin action in the lane.
It's just incredible. Her footwork, her aggression and drive to the basket, that ability to just muscle her way inside, it's just unbelievable to watch.
Taya Davis, senior guard, 5'7", Decatur, Illinois, having herself an affair as Griffin lines up a 3 in the Crawford corner right in front of the Fordham bench. 35-32, VCU taking the lead back. Defensive breakdown there by the Fordham Rams. Davis making a pass to Fordham script, had herself a wonderful game, 13 assists against LaSalle, and she's coming up huge offensively here. Past the Mura screen, standard pick and roll is money, and she's going to get the and one opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. 35-34, 5:22 left in quarter number 2. Irina Murua at the line.
What a great read, a great pass inside to the cutting Mura. Is going to shoot 1 at the line here. She's already got 8 points on today's game so far.
As the first one is up. And the first one is no good. It's going to rim in and out there. Barham pulls down the rebound. Khalil to Hudson in the fast break. Tries to go it alone. Tries to get the dump off pass there, but Rose Nelson sniffs it out. Kayla Berry also on her knees there. Hudson trying to force the inside pass over to Jennifer Eze. And more substitutions here for the Fordham Rams. Amaya Ferguson sits. In comes Camilla DePool. Head coach Beth O'Boyle. She's going to reinsert Marianne Asari back into this one. Try to reassert firm control as VCU up only a single point. Deep post touch here for Parham. Guarded by 2. Back out top. Griffin lines up a second 3. No good. Clanks left. Khalil able to track down the rebound, working on Nelson, puts a shoulder in, tries to get it up, and she's going to get the foul call there. Any one of Nelson or Murua, I'm not too sure, Ben, who's going to get called for the foul there. 4:58 left in quarter number 2, 35-34, and it's going to be a timeout here for Bethel Boyle and the Virginia Commonwealth Rams, as head coach Bridget Mitchell is speaking with the officiating. We have Annabelle Watson on sideline reporting. She's trying to get more perspective on the Fordham Rams there. So, Annabelle, what you got?
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. During the first quarter, I saw assistant coach and director of operations Leah Metcalf having extensive conversations with junior Shay Harris. Metcalf, of course, is a wealth of knowledge for this Fordham team since joining this summer. She had a 4-year standout career as a player at UNC. Additionally, I saw Coach Mitchell encouraging Anastasia Veljevic to take shots when she has them, and then the entire coaching staff emphasizing clean transitions as Fordham begins to close the gap between them and their rival Rams in VCU. Back to you, Madi.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the illustrious Annabelle Watson on the sideline report. We're going to keep her around. She's going to get more perspective from the Fordham faithful, from the Fordham bench, as they try to trek through this one. They've been playing an excellent game. Benjamin Oppenheimer, 35-34, 4:58 left to go right before the half. And both teams, I would say dead even, Ben. I don't know if you're watching a different game, but both teams with a lot to be extremely proud of.
Yeah, I mean, Fordham playing much better in this quarter than they were in the first, much more efficiently, getting the shots they want, keeping the possessions in play. When you look at the offensive rebounding, the hustle, the drives inside to the basket, some more aggression there, but also some controlled determination where you're getting the shots that you want, but you're also not taking too many overly aggressive shots. Right now, you got Taya Davis. She's got 9 points, 2 assists, and also Shay Harris, 5 points. Mora, 8 points, 4 for 4 from the field, showing her offensive efficiency. She's been so great all season long as being another scoring option. When a lot of times Taylor Donaldson has been unavailable, it's been Mora that's been stepping up. And then also when you look at Ferguson, 7 points, 2 for 3 from the field, 1 for 2 from beyond the arc, 2 for 2 from the line. So the scoring being distributed all around is exactly what Coach Mitchell was looking for with TD not on the floor. So you have to give this Fordham Rams team some credit as they're staying competitive. We knew it would be more competitive with Taylor Donaldson off the floor, and it certainly has been. Only a 1-point game with VCU in the lead, 35-34. Again, what I find interesting is Fordham is shooting better from the field than VCU, 60% to VCU's 50%. But then from the three-point line, it's a different story. Fordham only 3 percentage points better, 66% to VCU's 63%. What's been the Achilles heel for Fordham is not defending the three. You have to crowd the perimeter, put some pressure up there to make sure that VCU and their multiple weapons are not getting the shots they want from beyond the arc.
And again, Fordham with the deep lineup. It's a lineup that's worked all game long so far, so they'll continue to go to that well until it is indeed dry. Khalil here at the free throw line. Zoli Khalil also having herself a game. Threatens a double-double so early. 9 points, 5 rebounds, and assists. Perfect from the free throw line. Shay Harris, Camilla DePool, Taya Davis, Irina Murua, Kayla Berry out there for the Fordham Rams. As it's quickly past the maroon script, back over to Taya Davis. 4:50 left right before the half. Kayla Berry, little give and go action there with Taya Davis near side wing. Davis having herself an excellent game. Over to DePool. DePool fakes the three. Top of the key to Davis. Davis crisp crossover. Shay Harris, three-point shot is up, and it's absolutely nothing. And a little bit of miscommunication there. Parham trying to get it over to Asare. Asare not ready for the pass, so Fordham going to have another quick opportunity here, try to make better on that last possession. Down 3, 37-34.
Yeah, always an opportunity to take advantage and, make this potentially a tie game.
DePool into Davis. Davis, retreat dribble, trying to slow down the Fordham offense with 4:20 left on the clock. Harris and Davis playing hot potato with the basketball. Harris now moving from left to right. Denies the Mudawa screen. 8 seconds left on the clock. Mudawa having to go it alone. Works on Ezra, faces the double team, hits the ground, gets the ball to Barry, who puts up a shot. That's going to be no good. And Fordham here called for the shot clock violation. 4:01 left in quarter number 2, 37-34. VCU still with the advantage. Griffin past the tie line. Gives it up quickly over to Khalil. Khalil working on Harris. Gets her up in the air. Opts not to take the shot. Deep inside touch there. And Eze is going to get the easiest shot there. She was able to brush Mudawa off. Had nothing but opportunity. 39-34 VCU.
And that was a nice feed there, but where was the interior defense? You can't give those kind of shots up if you're Fordham.
Harris, another float from about 12, and she gets it to go. She's doing everything tonight as Kayla Barry hits the ground hard. VCU with numbers in transition. Azari goes towards the basket, and again, she gets the swing back into the favor of VCU, 41-36. 3:10 left on the clock. Right before the half, Taya Davis around the Mudawa screen. Over to the pool. Makes her way towards the basket, puts up the layup shot, hits the top of the backboard as Moore pulls it down. Top of the key, Taya Davis 3 is up, no good, but Harris is able to get the rebound. Puts a shoulder into the defender there. And Barry fighting for the rebound. It's going to be a foul on the ground there by way of Jennifer Eze. She's going to pick it up. So Fordham fighting so hard on the offensive rebounds. It's what they do best. As Fordham obstacle big once again. Rose Nelson, Carissa Antoine in this one. DePool and Barry will sit. Bethel Boyle with her own substitutions as Jennifer Eze will in fact take a seat back into this game as Ojeda. Harris receiving the pass in the deep Coffin corner. Davis around the Antoine screen, working on Khalil. Sweet crossover. Tries to get it up and over two. And it's going to be a jump ball here.
Tay Davis was trying to shake and bake there with the crossover and maybe get fouled, but close but no cigar.
2:35 left in the second quarter. 41-36 in favor of VCU. Dribble handoff galore, top of the key. Khalil over to Ojeda, working on Nelson, gets her up in the air. Khalil puts up a three, and it rattles in there. 44-36, VCU with yet another large lead. Fordham with much to say about that as Taya Davis makes her way past the half-court line. Directing traffic. 2:05 left in the half. Calling out for the Mudawa screen, goes around it. Switched onto by Griffin. Looks for the three-point shot. Shea Harris puts it up. No good, but Antoine underneath the basket by herself misses the gimme. And Ojeda pulls down the rebound. It's Khalil in transition. Over to Asare. Puts a shoulder into Rose Nelson. Rises up, no good, but Harris pulls down the board. Quickly in transition, guarded by Griffin. Back out top to Davis. 1:32 left in the first half. Fordham swing to Rose Nelson. Back out top. Retreat dribble there by Taya Davis. Amaya Ferguson sitting on the sideline, soon to come in. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Fordham gonna have to move quickly, and blocked out of the sky is solely Khalil. Griffin in transition, trying to go past Shea Harris. The Euro step is no good. And Harris pulls out the rebound. Nothing but space and opportunity. Gets the layup up and over Parham. 3-level scoring there by Shea Harris. 44-38, under a minute to play.
Well, that was a chaotic sequence, but it ended in Fordham's favor. A nice transition layup from Shea Harris.
45 seconds left right before intermission half. Parham, top of the key, gives it up to Khalil. Guarded by Nelson. Three-point shot, corner wing for her head out. Hits nothing. Clanks off to the side of the backboard there. 37.6 left. Right before the half, Amaya Ferguson will come in for Taya Davis. Veljovic will do the same as Nelson takes a seat. It's going to be Grace Hudson. She's going to be the trigger man here for VCU. Slapping the ball, indicating play. Looking for Ojeda. Deep post touch, working on Antoine. Antoine hands straight up, faces the double, and it's out of bounds there. So Fordham with the defensive scheme, you see that hard double there, forces VCU to give up the basketball. They get the ball back, man.
Yeah, you know, it's been not an ideal past few minutes for Fordham to end this first half, but you want to end on the right note and see if you can make the most of this possession right here.
Maya Ferguson, she's going to get spinned for the final seconds of this one. Looks away of head coach Bridgette Mitchell. Gets it deep into Murwa. Back on top. She receives the deep corner three. It's blocked out of the sky there. Fordham's going to stay with the basketball. Parham touched last before, or rather after Antoine. 11 seconds left on the shot clock. A single second exactly separating game and shot. Ferguson being the trigger man. Looking for the release. For something, top of the key, Veljovic. Final 10. Ferguson. To Harris. Harris puts up a three-point shot. No good. Parham pulls down the rebound. And that's going to be all she wrote for the first half. 44-38. VCU up 6. No need to fret. If you're Fordham, you played this as close as you possibly can. And it's been a very, very good half. Efficient from both teams. And if you're Virginia Commonwealth, you just have to keep your foot on the metal. Mariana Sare has been wonderful, but Khalil's been in the game, and it's been a strength in numbers affair for both teams. So an A+ rating is what I give it, Ben.
Yeah, it's been the dynamic duo from Asare and Khalil. Both of them already in double digits in scoring. 16 points for Asare, 13 points for Khalil. Both of them shooting pretty efficiently from the field and also knocking down threes. Asare 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. Khalil 3 for 3. Really, you just have to stop the bleeding on the perimeter. That's what I've been saying all game long. And if you look at the stats here in the field goal percentage, Fordham now down to 45% and VCU up to 50%. And then the three-point shooting, those statistics I was talking about, that's the Achilles heel. That's what VCU has been using to their advantage. Now 8 for 13 from the field, shooting 61%. Fordham 4 for 11 at 36%. That is a glaring chasm that keeps getting wider and wider as time goes on. Definitely a big reason why this second quarter did not end on the note that Fordham wanted to. So heading into the second half, Fordham's really got to lock down on the perimeter and just stop the bleeding there if they want to, again, take back the lead and take control of this one, Madi.
Once again, 44-38. Virginia Commonwealth up on Fordham. Second half action is soon to be underway, but we're going to kick it back from the studio. Enough from myself, Ben, and Annabelle. On the halftime report in studio, Daniel Melia with Frank Spicuzza. Guys, take it away.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Well, no shortage of action in that first half. 44-38, as you heard the score, with the Rams leading the Rams. More on the first half action in a little bit here. First, I'm going to hand it to my man in the studio, Frank Spicuzza, for another one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
As the clash in the Bronx rages on, the top 25 men's basketball is equally fierce, with a large sum of groundbreaking matchups and final scores. Starting things off with last night's Clash of the Titans, top-ranked Auburn held fast to its number 1 spot as they trounced Alabama 94-85. Taking a trip to the Midwest, the Wisconsin Badgers upset Purdue in a 94-84 barn burner. Sharing an equally intense outcome, the Houston Cougars ousted the Arizona Wildcats by a close 62-58 victory. Carrying the excitement into this evening, the Wichita State Shockers have trumped the Memphis Tigers 84-79. Making our way once more to the Midwest, the Michigan Wolverines are stuck in gridlock with the Ohio State Buckeyes in a 67-67 tie. At Madison Square Garden later this afternoon, the Creighton Blue Jays are slated to take on the well-rounded Red Storm of St. John's at 3 p.m. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Frank Spicuzza.
And thank you for that scoreboard update, Frank. Let's get back to our scoreboard here.
Right.
If you had told me before this game that at the half, VCU would be shooting over 60% from the three-point line. And Fordham, missing Taylor Donaldson, would be here at the half, down by 6. I would have said one word: how? Because this is crazy. Coach Mitchell said before the game that this needed to be a holistic team effort without Fordham's leading scorer on the floor, and it has been that. 4 players with 5 or more points. Leading the way with 11 is Taya Davis. We also have gotten 8 from Irene Murua, 7 from Shea Harris, and 7 from Amaya Ferguson off the bench. How important do you feel like it has been for Fordham to lean on a collective effort rather than one person without Taylor Donaldson?
Oh, man. Well, obviously, it's not even a question of importance, but a question of necessity. I mean, if they wanted to pull this out today, then there is no other way around it other than passing the rock and making sure that everyone is getting a chance. Obviously, with the Donaldson-sized hole in the roster today, that had to be patched up quick, and I would argue that it certainly has been. I mean, freshman Anastasia Veljovic stepping up today. Again, as I've just now mentioned, a freshman certainly taking care of business, while, of course, Taya Davis has proven to be fearless in the midst of her size mismatch in the paint. Never afraid to take it to the hole and finish strong at that hole. However, VCU has definitely come to play. They stand for Virginia Commonwealth, and there certainly has been a Commonwealth shared of points getting across the board. However, it's definitely come down to Mariana Asare, who's been leaving her mark, as Ben had said there, going 4 from 6 from 3. It's definitely been a shootout on both sides.
Yeah, and so about that Commonwealth, it's common between 2 players.
There you go.
Mariana Asare obviously has just been phenomenal. And Zoli Khalil, holy goodness, 3 of 3 from downtown. All of her made field goals from downtown. 0 of 5 elsewhere. I suppose just keep shooting from out there. So with that in mind, obviously second half emphasis for Fordham has to be, as we heard Ben say, and anybody who's watching this game could tell you, close out on the 3-point line. What else do you think Fordham needs to do, though, on specifically the defensive side of the floor to make sure that they get across the finish line here with a W?
That's a great question, Dan, because seriously, it's, Fordham has proven themselves to be a defensive team throughout the year. A multitude of players sitting pretty in both the steal and defensive rebound category. There's been it's no surprise in saying that this is their strong suit, at least for the Fordham ladies. So I think it's going to come down to, as you had said, the boxing out, but also just the general aggressiveness. I think Ben had talked about a bleeding wound on the 3-point line. And so if that could be bandaged and more pressure applied from beyond the arc, I think Bridget Mitchell's goal of trying to contest every field goal point she had mentioned before the game could very well come true.
Absolutely, and such a point of emphasis. We know that that's Fordham's style of play. Worth noting, they turned over VCU 6 times to their own 2 in the first half. These 2 teams turn the ball over a lot. Coming into this game, Fordham 18.5 turnovers per game. VCU 17.6. That was something I had highlighted in my notes coming into this one as something that one of the 2 teams, if they were going to win the turnover battle, might end up winning the game. We'll see if that holds true. Obviously, Fordham down on the scoreboard. But I think you're right. If the defensive pressure stays up, if they are able to turn over VCU consistently, could see themselves coming out of this one on top. Let's focus some on the offense for Fordham. Obviously, I mentioned that it had been very encouraging to see the load distributed without Taylor Donaldson. There are still some things, however, of course, you're down 6, still some things that need improvement. So the field goal shooting has been better, 45.7% from the field, well above Fordham's average for the season. The 36.4% from downtown, also well above their average for the season. In fact, a full flat 10% better. Whew. But they're down 3. Down 6, 2 threes, I was going to say. VCU has been shooting the lights out from beyond the arc. Fordham not so much, still doing fine. But this is the question. Ben mentioned early in the game when VCU was up by a handful, but they had hit 4 threes to our 1, that you can't win games if you're exchanging 3 for 2. Do you want to see Fordham move more towards a perimeter-based offense, or would you prefer to see them kind of grit and grind, Memphis Grizzlies style, in the paint? What do you think is the more effective tactic here in the second half?
Well, as much as I'd like to say it'd be great to start matching their threes with our own, I fear as though it's a little bit too late in the game to make such an emphatic switch in offense. I think Taya Davis, after her last night, or the other night, with 13 assists, I think the overall emphasis on moving the ball around the arc and the paint itself has gone up. I think Shea Harris, her unbreakable confidence after seeing some starting time and then losing that time while coming back and hitting the game-winning three-pointer. I think that there is a collection of offensive significances, if you will. And so to limit themselves only for this game to fire back in the only way that VCU knows how. I think if Fordham stays tried and true to their lockdown characteristic, along with trying to match them at the boards, keeping the ball in their own hands, and obviously slimming down on turnovers, I don't know. I think we could see this 6-point gap closed in favor of Fordham.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that the offense actually has looked really solid.
True.
And it's been the defense that has let them down. Okay, VCU's hit some tough shots, but we also know Fordham is not going to be a team that gives up, 60+% from beyond the arc regularly. I would expect, and would in fact be very surprised if those numbers didn't come down at least a little bit. You have to believe Bridget Mitchell is in there telling them right now, close out from beyond the arc, man. Just every time, especially if Khalil catches it out there or Asari catches it out there, get on them. And that's going to be the turning point. I agree you don't need to change the offensive strategy, especially considering, Shea Harris did not play her best first half of basketball either, and you're still only down 6 in this position with VCU having played as well as they did. She went 3 for 13. I really do think that for the second half, a point of emphasis has to be find the best shot on every possession, because the best shot is the right one to take, Make the extra swing pass. That's something that Fordham has struggled to do. They're not a team that gets a lot of assists. Right now on pace to get slightly above their, really flat on their season average, come to think of it. They had 6 this first half. They averaged just under 12 for the season. So I do think the offense has played about as well as we're used to seeing them play, in fact, better. It has to be on the defensive side of the ball that they make the changes that they need to make to win this game. A couple of other things here before we close out for the half. VCU coming into this game, they've lost 5 games in a row, and 7 of 8 total. Fordham has lost, they won the one against LaSalle. That was great, but before that, lost 4 in a row. Really kind of wasted away that momentum that they had early on. How important do you think this is as we get close? We heard them say multiple times, 17 days away from the A-10 tournament. How important do you think this game is to Fordham's hopes in particular for turning the momentum around and kind of getting in the right place where you can make a run in the A-10 tournament?
Perhaps I'm blowing it out of proportion. However, I do get a very true sense and feeling that this game is incredibly important for the outlook and the future of the Fordham ladies season. Like you had mentioned, both teams coming off of a minute losing streak, Fordham breaking it a game earlier. However, to showcase to a team that you're able to take care of business at home without your star player just shows a pure strength and integrity from throughout the entire team. So if they're able to come back against LaSalle, that being last week, and now here again today without Miss Donaldson, I think that will certainly show themselves and show the rest of the league or conference, moreover, that they are not screwing around and they are here and gunning for the chip.
Absolutely, and you have to cut your teeth against these teams here and build some momentum, because you're going to run into a Richmond or a George Mason or a St. Joseph's or a Davidson or a UMass or a Rhode Island who took them to town earlier here. Was there for that game. You're going to run into one of those 6 teams above you fairly early on. The only other team above them they've played and beaten was Dayton. So I agree with you. These are the games, especially without Taylor Donaldson, that not only do you need to win for the standings, but you need them for the confidence of the team. You need to be able to play a team that shoots 60% from 3 in the first half and then say, without your best player, we can still take these guys. We'll see if they can do that in this second half. It has been a fun one to watch. Let's hope that the next 2 quarters of basketball bring more of the same. This has been the One-on-One Halftime Report. I'm Daniel Amelia. I was joined by Frank Spicuzza. We will see you again after the game. For now, it's back to the Rose Hill Gymnasium with Madi Dembele and Ben Oppenheimer.
Hey sports fans, it's Bobby C. I'm the sports director here at WFUV. From live broadcasts of Fordham athletics to coverage of all the professional sports teams in the NYC, we've got everything a sports fan could ask for. Like talking sports? Check out One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show, as well as our diverse collection of podcasts. If you're a Fordham student interested in joining our program, feel free to shoot me an email, bobbyc@wfuv.org. And as always, thank you to all of our listeners who support us every week. 90.7 FM is the home of WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Hey, this is Chris Carino, Fordham and WFUV class of 1992. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Hey guys, Grace McCarran here with Jack Warner.
And we're two of your hosts for Nosebleeds, WFUV's one and only baseball podcast.
We'll keep you in the loop on all tri-state news with the Yankees and Mets,
as well as the biggest headlines from around the MLB.
Catch weekly episodes of Nosebleeds on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Take a trip around the bases with Nosebleeds on WFUV Sports.
Hey, it's Chaz McAdams here calling you to tune in to WFUV Sports One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. With hot takes covering all sports from the five boroughs and beyond, to interviews with some of the biggest names in sports media. We're live Saturdays on the WFUV Sports YouTube from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then later on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Come join us next Saturday for One-on-One.
Little bit of technical difficulty there as we begin second half action. Score is now 49-44. VCU able to keep the slim advantage over the Fordham Rams. Out of bounds here on Fordham. Miscommunication under the basket. Mudawa not able to bring it all the way in, so it goes the way of VCU. Mariana Sare, as she's been all game here, leading the charge here for the VCU Rams. Double high post touch goes the way of Parham. Switched on to by Davis. Sotilo to the deep corners. Khalil gets a shot up, no good. Almost gets her own rebound there. And Asari's going to get the mid-range shot to fall. 51-44. 5:30 left to go in quarter number two.
And Asari's got 19 points already, just racking up the scoreboard there as VCU now has a 7-point lead.
Flare screen action. Taya Davis receives it. Two crossovers there on Hudson. Slams into the ground. It's going to be Emma Wilson-Sartos. Mariana Sare slow to get up as the Rose Hill Gym. Been the loudest silence you ever heard. That's a big loss there. If she is hard. As Asari will take a seat. Emma Wilson-Sartos kind of popped right back up. And she took the fall. She is okay. Again, 5:18 left to go in quarter number three, now quarter number two. As I said again, coming out of technical difficulties, 51-44. Asare still in the game after that tough fall. Top of the key. Guarded by Davis. Parham faces the double team, and it's going to be out of bounds. Shea Harris being the last culprit. Sticks up her hand. And it's going to be a timeout here. Bethel Boyle, she's going to check up on her star player as we head into yet another break. 51-44 in quarter number three. First media timeout under 5. So we're going to kick it to a quick timeout from Madi, Dembele, and Benjamin Oppenheimer. This is Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Ben Oppenheimer reminding you to tune in to New York's longest-running sports call-in show, One-on-One. Catch One-on-One live on the WFUV Sports YouTube channel every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then later on 90.7 FM from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. We'll catch you next Saturday on One-on-One.
Back in the Rose Hill Gymnasium. And again, an interesting one here. VCU up on the Fordham Rams, 51-44, 4:57 left to go in quarter number three, as we're still working our way out of this media timeout. And again, Fordham still playing this one very, very close. A little bit of a slower start for both teams in the third quarter, Ben.
Yeah, the pace definitely more relaxed, or if not relaxed, definitely slower, as both teams shooting, around where they've been in the first half. Fordham 45% from the field, VCU 50%. But again, you know, you had Frank Spicuzza and Daniel Melia talk about it, or Mealy, excuse me, sorry Dan, talk about it during halftime about stopping the bleeding from the three-point line for Fordham. That was their objective coming out of timeout, coming out of halftime. And I really think that they've struggled to do that, to contain that offensive production that's coming from VCU from beyond the arc. They're shooting 60% from three throughout this one, 9 for 15 from beyond the arc. So really, it's a question of can they do anything to put some pressure on the perimeter. I mean, when you look at their three-point field goal percentage for this season, their average, VCU is shooting 32% overall on this season from beyond the arc. So for me, the question is, and really, if Fordham ends up losing this game, it's what did they do wrong that allowed VCU to shoot over 30% above their usual average from the three-point line? That's just a huge question mark, and something that, you know, if this game ends up being a loss, it's what Coach Mitchell is going to talk with her players in practice and next few days on how do you stop the perimeter, how do you put pressure around there to stop those threes from raining down whenever they want.
Yeah, Mary, again, you talk about it, Ben. Fordham, a highly touted defensive unit, holding their opponents to around 50 points per game. They've had games as such, but VCU already here at 51 as we continue play. Griffin deep corner touch for Asari. She lines up yet another three. That's going to clank front rim as Harris pulls down yet another rebound. Shea Harris has been particularly impressive on the boards there. As Taya Davis is going to slow it down. Slow work of Khalil. Goes around the Antoine screen. Puts up a wild pass. Somehow makes its way to Murwa. Maya Ferguson. Pass Ojeda. Puts up the float. And it's good. She's going to get called for an offensive foul. Asare beating her to the spot, Ben. And if you're Fordham, you want that one back urgently.
Not only is Asari a great offensive player, but she has great defensive instincts as well. Sacrificing her body on that one, a tough break for Fordham.
Khalil, deep three, and it's good. Near in front of her bench, too. 54-44, 4:08 left to go in quarter number 3. Davis working on the Zare. Switched onto by Khalil. Tries to get the deep post touch into Murwa. She's going to be fouled there by Ojeda. Hands on hips, not happy with that one. 3:56 in quarter number 3. Into the game comes Saltillo. Ojeda's going to take a seat. She's going to pay for that crime there. Underneath the basket, Taya Davis being the trigger man for Fordham. Out there with Maya Ferguson, Irina Murwa, Shea Harris, as well as Carissa Antoine. Side of VCU, Griffin. With Khalil, Parham, Saltillo, and of course, Mary Ann Asare. As Davis, 2 times around the Antoine screen, gives it up to Ferguson. 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Step back 3 is no good. And the rebound's pulled down by Parham. She's throwing elbows almost in the airspace of Harris as Griffin makes her way quickly past the 10-second line, pulls it back out. 3:27 left to go in quarter number 3. Past Davis she goes. Baseline touch in for Parham, fumbles the dribble. And Asare, with absolutely nothing but space and opportunity, misses the wide open 3. And VCU's gonna get the basketball back, much to the dismay of Irina Murwa. Again, Khalil kind of corralling into the stands, trying to save that ball. And for her efforts, VCU gets the basketball back.
And VCU still out-rebounding Fordham 29-17. In terms of offensive rebounding, 11-9. Also want to note in terms of turnovers, VCU is out-turning over the ball 10-6. If that's the right term, out-turning over. But they're committing more turnovers, but still have a 10-point lead. An interesting dynamic there.
54-44, and Khalil hits the ground hard. Murwa's going to get called for the foul there on the screen. A little bit too wide there. And head coach Bridgette Mitchell is not happy with that. She is livid. Pleading her case with the referee there. Much to the dismay of Fordham as Parham takes a seat for Bethel Boyle's squad. And Griffin Dribble handoff with Asare, guarded by Davis. Far side corner into far side wing. It's going to be Griffin throwing up the air ball floater. Touches absolutely nothing as Fordham goes out in transition. 54-44, 2:40 left to go in quarter number 3. Ferguson to Mudawa. Mudawa takes the first 3 of the game, and she gets it to go. She's hit 4 against George Washington in the late rally, and she has her first one of the game here, 54-47, 2:29 in the third, as Khalil, wide open under the basket, misses the gimme, and it's going to be Davis as Azay hits the ground hard in transition past the 10-second line. Wide open, Shea Harris on the 3, thinks about it, gives it up to Ferguson. She fires, no good. Clanks off backside rim there. Goes the way of Jennifer Azay, and she's forced to pick up her dribble in the backcourt. And Mariana Sarr, inside post touch to Jennifer Azay, working on the smaller Antoine, and she puts body to basket and ball in hoop. 56-47, 1:52 left. The pace slowly picking up in this one. Rose Nelson making her way towards half court. She's going to provide Fordham with some size. As Taya Davis gives it up to Amaya Ferguson, guarded there by Griffin. 10 seconds left now on the shot clock for Fordham. Shea Harris thinks about the 3, puts it up, no good. Might want a foul on that one as Asare makes a pass, gives it up to Sotilo. She hits the ground hard. And Fordham once again in transition. Mudawa faces the immediate double, and Antoine's going to get the basketball and puts up the 2 points. And Fordham now near the 50-point mark, 56-49, 107 in the third.
That's a beautiful feed there. A nice read inside and getting the layup for 2. It's the easy things that are going to help chip away at this lead. Not much time left in this one, though, as we get closer and closer to the fourth quarter.
Griffin, far side wing rather. Cross-court pass over to Khalil, who's able to get it up and over the long contest of Irina Mudawa. Mudawa's going to get called for the foul. And one opportunity here for VCU, 58-49, 44.4 seconds left in the third quarter. Both teams going to keep fresh legs here. Kayla Berry and Rose Nelson in for Taya Davis and Irina Mudawa. In for Amaya Ferguson and Mudawa. Sotila and Asare going to take the rest of the quarter off. As we have Khalil here, 18 points and 6 rebounds. Perfect from the line is what she will remain as she hits her 5th consecutive free throw. VCU now employing their press. 14 seconds separating game and shot clock. 35 seconds left. 59-49. Fordham, the home crowd in the hole by 10. Davis going around the Antoine screen, still guarded by Khalil. Puts a shoulder into the defender. Harris into the middle. Kayla Berry with her shot. Up and no good there, and Hudson's going to come down with the rebound. 16 seconds left. Shot clock is now turned off. And VCU is going to get the basketball here. Taya Davis kind of forcing the ball out of bounds on Hudson.
Yeah, I mean, really not the ideal way Fordham wanted to end this third quarter.
Farah over to Griffin. Crowd chants, 5 seconds left on the game clock. Deep side 3 is going to be Khalil. No good, hits absolutely nothing. Antoine will corral the rebound and hold for the last shot. As we now enter the fourth quarter here, 59-49. Fordham again in the hole by 10. They played an excellent game so far. But again, Ben, third quarter, that end to it is not what you want to see, especially with the way you've been playing up until that point.
Well, yeah, and it's not only the third quarter. It's also in the second they really let up some momentum that they had in the beginning of that second quarter, and now it's just, especially, it's really the whole story of this game is the three-pointers. It's Fordham's lack of ability to make them and their lack of ability to defend them. And right now you look at three-point shooting, VCU shooting a little bit worse than they were earlier at the start of the third quarter. Right now shooting 52% when they were originally shooting around 60%. And Fordham, unfortunately, has not really improved in that standpoint from the three-point line. Still shooting 31% that is the whole story of this game. It's just making those shots and also defending those shots. So see what happens in the fourth, Madi.
We're going to take a quick break here. Again, end of the third quarter. Back in studio, we have Frank Spicuzza taking you around the sports world. Frank, do your thing.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Wrapping up our scores for the Atlantic 10 ladies this evening, the Wildcats end up smoking the Bonnies 55-37. In similar epic fashion, the Billikens are currently blasting the Spiders 34-27. All the while, a war rages on at George Mason University as UMass makes it neck and neck with the Patriots at a score of 8-8. Zooming out of the A10 conference and taking a look at top 25 women's ball, a border battle between NC State and UNC leans in favor of Blue, who currently lead 42-36. As of right now, the number 5 LSU Tigers are gridlocked against the number 3 Longhorns in a Tiger-led 7-4 matchup. Later this evening, USC travels to take on the Huskies in Washington, a match scheduled for 7 o'clock. Checking back in on men's hoops, St. John's is trailing Creighton 10-4 at MSG. That one just tipped off. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Frank Spicuzza.
Frank Spicuzza on the one-on-one scoreboard. Always love to hear from the boys back in studio, and we are here. I am Madi Dembele on play-by-play commentary, joined by Benjamin Oppenheimer as the color analyst. And we're here in the legendary Rose Hill Gymnasium, the Prairie. Once upon a time, it was called. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar playing his final high school game in this very, very building. 59-49. Virginia Commonwealth up on Fordham. A whole 10 points here against staying strong through the thick of it, collecting points within the fire. Fordham, again, playing a solid enough game. But again, there have been some, I would say, rough patches.
You know, I might disagree with that, Madi. I don't know if it's solid. I mean, that third quarter certainly wasn't solid. A lot of that second quarter wasn't. But they've been playing competitively enough to stay in this one. In the absence of Taylor Donaldson, you know, that's obviously difficult. You have to give them credit for that. But they really just need to guard the three and make the most of their possessions on the offensive end.
As we begin fourth quarter play, 9:53 to open. 59-49. Griffin faces a Veljovic and Jay Harris double team. Deep in the corner. Finally able to get the ball moving. Hudson over to Khalil, who makes a move, but not before she travels, as she was guarded by Jay Harris. So Fordham's going to get an opportunity to crack 50 on this next possession here. Antoine going to be the trigger man, taking her out right in front of the broadcasting booth here.
And that's going to be the storyline of this quarter is, will Fordham make the most of those turnovers that VCU commits, those mistakes? Will they capitalize? They've done it in a lot of games this season, but it remains to be seen if they can do the job here in the fourth.
Antoine working on Parham. Picks up a dribble back out top. Griffin gets a hand on it. Kayla Barry faking the three. Gets to about 16, which is no good from there. Jennifer Azay pulling down the rebound. And Sanaya Griffin past the maroon script. Nothing but daylight underneath the basket. Gets it up and over the jump contest of Rose Nelson. 61-49. VCU up 12 as Shea Harris makes it past the tie line. Veljovic. Retreat dribble. Gives it up to Barry. As Khalil hits the ground hard. And there's going to be an offensive foul there on Kayla Barry. A little bit too much chicken wing there for the official. So he'll blow his whistle. 8:50 left to go. Towards the end of this game, few substitutions here, as Barry and Nelson will sit. Back into this one, Mudwa and Antoine. Mudwa and now Davis. As Fordham once again with their patented press. Asare gets it past the half-court line. Hudson deep inside to Eze. Gives it up to a streaking Parham. And that shot's going to be no good at the basket there for Parham. Taya Davis slowing it down for Fordham. 8:32 in quarter number 4. 61-49. Fordham in the hole by 12. Veljovic looking for anything to materialize. As Shea Harris puts up the layup, that's going to be no good. And it's going to be out of bounds on Mudwa. Not able to get the ball and not able to get the rebound there. So VCU basketball.
It really seems like there's no flow to their offense right now. They're forcing shots. not making the most of possessions, and just, with reckless abandon driving to the basket. Not the way you want to get back in this game, as they're already down 13.
Deep post toucher for Jennifer Azay. Nice little assist from Asare. And she gets deep post penetration. 8 minutes exactly as the lead continues to balloon for VCU. Now at 14, 63-49. Taya Davis controlling for the Fordham offense near her own bench. Goes around the Murua screen. Tries to go middle, puts up the floater. That hits absolutely nothing but backboard. And Azay with the easiest rebound she's going to get all night long. Sanaya Griffin with the play call. Gives it up to Parham. Guarded by Davis. It's going to be Griffin. As she moves around here, gets it from about 13. That's going to be no good, but Azay with yet another rebound. Up and in. 65-49, all Virginia Commonwealth. 7:15 left to go in the fourth.
VCU playing Fordham's way, taking on their characteristics, muscling their way in for that offensive rebound and the layup inside. They're just outworking Fordham right now. Time for the Rams to wake up.
Shea Harris putting up the deep coffin corner three. More bodies hitting the ground than this one. Mariana Asare, she's been everywhere today. She has 21 points on the night. Always love an encouraging sign when your best offensive weapon is willing to give it all on the defensive end, as Carissa Antoine is going to take a seat. Emma Wilson-Saltos back into this one. Seems to be holding strong ever since that big hit, that big collision there with Asare in the third. As Davis works on Hudson. Back out top to Harris. Shoots from about 15, and it's going to be no good. Side of the rim as Asare pulls down the rebound. Hudson in transition, gives it up to Griffin as she retreats near half court. 6:40 left to go in quarter number 4. Asare near side wing, guarded by Harris. Puts up a three as Griffin banks off the backboard, nearly goes in, and Harris in transition. Pass to Fordham Maroon. Sweet little nifty move inside and misses everything at the basket. Wilson-Saltos with the rebound. Up and over facing the triple team. And the ball stolen away from Asare. Hands in cookie jar. She's able to get the treat. In transition now, Hudson putting up the quick fire three. No good. Off the back iron. But she's able to track down her own rebound. And Asare with another wide open three. Off. Murua hitting the ground. Eze with the rebound. And the foul will stay here on the floor. 65-49 still. 5:15 left. Virginia Commonwealth up 16.
Nothing going Fordham's way right now. The basket, as you like to say, Madi, your expression, is getting smaller and smaller. They're just not making any shots and really turning the ball over, not getting the shots they want, not only not making the shots, but not getting good shots.
Khalil hounded there by Davis as it's back outside for Asare. Far side wing, and it's pure. It's something she's done all night long, and VCU has busted this one wide open. 68-49, 5:39 left to go in this one. 19-point lead for the visitors from Virginia. Deep corner three for Amaya Ferguson is pure. Fordham breaking 50, now at 52 points. Cutting the deficit to now 16. As we are now around 5:20 left to play. Asare trying to work on Davis. High post touch for Parham. Gives it up to Khalil. Deep post touch for Jennifer Azay. Makes it past Emma Wilson-Saltos. Able to seal her off and get the shot at the basket. 70-52 all VCU. Davis giving it up top of the key, Murua. Going around the Murua screen is Ferguson, who loses the dribble right into the hands of Asare, and VCU has numbers. Hudson working on Davis, but not before she fouls her in transition. A little bit of too much arm skin there. 4:45 in the fourth, 70-52. Head coach Richette Mitchell will call a timeout, as Fordham's going to look to close this one as strong as possible. But the time is not their friend, Ben.
And a timeout is surely needed, but I'm sure, when you look at what Coach Mitchell's talking about, in the huddle right now, definitely trying to stop the bleeding, which has been the theme all game long. But we'll throw it over to, or we'll stay here for now. But Annabelle Watson will be with us soon for an update from the sidelines.
Yeah, we're going to kick it to Annabelle Watson, but not before a media timeout. We're going to come back right here at the Rose Hill Gymnasium. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Back here in the Rose Hill Gymnasium as Fordham finds themselves in the hole big, 70-52, 18 whole points, 4:45 left to go in the fourth. On the sideline reporting duties, Annabelle Watson trying to get into the minds and see how Fordham's emotional equilibrium is throughout this very, very, I would say, large challenge. So Annabelle, what you got?
Yeah, Maddie, this Fordham bench seems to be frustrated with the officiating and their play. However, they're not using the officiating as an excuse for their big deficit to VCU. Assistant coach Janet Butler told the team to not give them anything, emphasizing the need to play a clean defense. Further, Coach Mitchell told Taya Davis and Irene Marua that they need to get stops when they checked back into the game earlier. So definitely a huge challenge for Fordham right now, but they are keeping a great mindset despite some frustrations. Back to you, Madi.
Annabelle Watson there with some perspective. Again, they're feeling good even when they're in the hole big because Fordham's used to this situation. Think back to that game against George Washington. Trailed for much of it, not really able to get into it. But then Irina Murua comes up huge with 4 threes. Camila DePool plays some, adds 5 points to 3 off the bench. So Fordham, not a stranger to big-time deficits. 4:45 left to go in the fourth quarter, Ben. What is it that you need out of the Fordham Rams if they want a chance at a win?
Well, you got to take care of the ball. You have to take smart shots, and you have to really crowd the perimeter, stop the threes from raining down. There's a lot of things they got to work on. But really, I would say it starts on the defensive end, on the perimeter, guarding that three-point line, and taking care of the ball, as I said, limiting turnovers, and also capitalizing off of VCU's turnovers. What we've seen in this game is, uncharacteristically for Fordham, they have not capitalized off of VCU's turnovers very much, and also they're being out-rebounded, especially on offensive rebounding as she makes her first there at the line. But really, they just retain their character that they've had in terms of the effort, the rebounding. They need to get that back because they haven't shown it so far this game, and she misses her second there.
Yeah, 2 straight free throw misses for Grace Hudson. Quiet night for her. Grace Hudson with 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a single point on the night. Score will remain 71-52, 4:33 left to go in the fourth. Murua puts up a 3, and that's going to be nothing but air as it sails out of bounds. 4:29 in the fourth. Ojeda back into the game, inbounding to Asar. Trying to break the Fordham press, up and over back to Asare. Guarded by Davis near half court. Clock winds down, 4:15. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Khalil guarded by Ferguson. Cross-court pass to Hudson. Fakes it out. Pick and roll set between Asar and Parhams. Blown up by Wilson Saltos as Fordham now trails in transition. Davis near the Fordham bench, waiting for the Murua screen. Murua working on Parham. Half spin to Rose Nelson. Attacks baseline, puts up the floater, puts up the 2-point shot. And it's no good. Ball's going to stay here. Foul on VCU. Fordham's going to have another chance. Try to close the deficit even more. Excuse me. Goes the way of VCU. possession will switch hands here as Virginia Commonwealth will retain possession.
Seemingly endless tough breaks for Fordham. Just nothing going their way right now.
Khalil kind of bumped there by Ferguson as she gets the ball over to Asare. Asare with the retreat dribble, making her way past the Maroon script. Ojeda gets a wide open three. That's going to be no good. Rebound is pulled down by Khalil. As it goes back out top to Asare. It's just a matter of playing keep away for the Virginia Commonwealth Rams. Pass to Parham screen. Over to Grace Hudson. Inside touch for Ojeda. Gets it up. And Fordham with yet another foul. Emma Wilson-Salto is going to be the culprit there. Pretty pristine ball movement from the VCU Rams, not forcing the shot, giving the lead. No need to force any errant possessions here, as you have Ojeda at the free throw line with 3:09 left to play.
Yeah, you know, right now, definitely Fordham needs to show some signs of life. I mean, still shooting poorly from the field, 37% now, as she makes her first there for Ojeda. And Fordham shooting 33% from beyond the arc, while VCU shooting 45% as she makes her second there. That's the story of this game, Madi. Once again, is that three-point discrepancy, the percentages comparison between VCU and Fordham.
Valentina Ojeda, she's going to hit 2 from the line there, bringing the scoring total for VCU up to 73. 21-point lead for them, 2:59 left to go. We are now under 3 minutes left to play as Murua thinks about the three, working on the smaller Ojeda. Faces the double team, gives it out to Davis. She takes a rare three, and that's blocked there by Hudson. Ball rolls out of bounds. It's going to stay here with the maroon and white. Exactly 2:46 left to play. Fordham in the hole major. Shea Harris going to take it out from the baseline. Looking for anything. Gets it into Wilson-Saltos. Guarded by Ojeda. And stolen in transition. Almost stolen, if I dare say so myself, by Asare. And Shea Harris gets all the way to the basket, but misses absolutely everything. Another shot clock violation forced here by VCU.
It just shows the suffocating defense of VCU right now, not letting Fordham get a thing on the board as they're smothering the floor, just not allowing Fordham to drive inside and maybe get a foul, get to the basket, nothing.
Khalil making her way all the way to the basket, meets resistance at Wilson-Saltos. She hits the ground hard, slow to get up. The Rams now with numbers in transition. Taya Davis up and over to Saltos. Trying to get it up and over two. She's able to draw the foul. She hits the ground hard for the second straight time this game. And Zoli Khalil, who's practically played the entire game, she's going to take a seat here. 19 points and 8 rebounds for her. Again, we talked about her threatening that double-double. 2 rebounds shy of that as Wilson-Salto steps up to the free throw line. 2:13 left to go, 73-52. And at the free throw line, Emma Wilson-Saltos, 2 points, 2 rebounds on the night. Her first free throw of the game is going to be up, and it's going to be in. 73, now 53 for the Fordham Rams. Wilson-Saltos. Perfect from the line, puts the second one up, front rim on that one. So she'll go 1 of 2 for that trip. Asare gonna slow it down to a snail crawl. Now at 2 minutes exactly here for a play clock. 73-53. Asare playing keep away from the Fordham Rams. Hudson puts up a 3, and it's pure. Nothing but absolute net. It's butter. 76-53.
Just making it look easy out there. Not much more to say than that. Just getting the shots they want and knocking them down. Fordham's perimeter defense is just, it is nowhere to be found.
Davis. Murua playing hot potato. Quick crossover on Asare. Dump off inside to Murua. Looking for a release. Tries to go alone on Parham. And Parham blocks it clean. But able to get the shot up. And Wilson-Saltos gets the and one opportunity. So Fordham here now 55. A chance to make it 56. Now just little over 120 left to play. 76-55. 19-point lead here for VCU. Coach O'Boyle trying to keep fresh legs. Asari will take her final seat of this game. Ferguson back into the game for Fordham. Emma Wilson Salto's second straight trip here at the free throw line, now at 5 points, 2 rebounds on the night. As the shot is up. Shot is going to be no good. Murwa pulls down the rebound. And Velovic all alone in the deep corner, puts up the 3, and it's good. 76-57. Excuse me, she had a foot on the line.
That's some great effort there on that play, the offensive rebound and then the kick out to the 3 in the corner, but where was that all game?
Turgut into the game for the very first time, over to Griffin. Receives the pass back. Deep corner 3 there for VCU. It's going to be no good. Denise Turgot putting up the 3. Clanks off. Now under a minute left to play, 55.3, 76-57. And VCU, off of a 4-game losing streak, Benjamin Oppenheimer, an absolute heartbreaker against St. Louis, where they held a 16-point lead in the third. They lost it, able to presumably get one here, as they are up big. 45 seconds left on the game clock. Amaya Ferguson sidestepping 3, no good. Murwa pulls down the rebound, and it's going to be a foul here. 39.4 on the clock.
And Mora, for today, leading all Fordham scorers, 15 points, 7 for 11 from the field, 1 for 2 from beyond the arc, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Showing her scoring ability as well as her playmaking ability and her ability to rebound.
Davis getting it into Ferguson. 37 seconds now on the game clock. 19 seconds between game and shot. Dribble handoff. Davis, her move towards the baseline, tries to get the reverse layup. That's going to be no good. Final 25 here. As Turgo makes it past the Fordham Maroon. Griffin now holding here. Shot clock is officially turned off, and Virginia Commonwealth already celebrating. Under the final 10, they're going to hold up not to take the last shot, as they have beaten the home team Fordham Rams soundly. 76-57 is the final score here from the historic Rose Hill Gymnasium. Long kiss goodnight. VCU snapping their 4-game losing streak, again a heartbreaker against St. Louis. They're able to get one back in Fordham. After some struggles, they beat LaSalle. They now find themselves back in the losing column without Taylor Donaldson. They played a great game earlier on, but the war of attrition proved to be too great.
Yeah, I mean, this really was a tough one, Madi, for Fordham. You know, coming in without Taylor Donaldson and the players having to take up the offensive load of that responsibility. Who's going to be the main scorer? Who's going to take, the playmaking role? Also on defense, Taylor Donaldson is not just the team's best offensive player, but arguably their best defensive player on the perimeter. You can argue that a lot of Fordham's reasons, their struggles for defending the three-point line today were because no Taylor Donaldson out there on the floor with her ability to pick up those steals and her ability to read the passing lanes. That was not there tonight, and they struggled to compensate for that. But I do want to say, even though without her on the floor tonight, this was absolutely a winnable game.
Yeah.
It was 100% a winnable game, and they almost looked at control in some points, particularly early in the second quarter. They were playing really well, efficiently, shooting well from the field, and it just it fell apart in the second half. And it's a tough loss, especially as they lost 3 in a row recently, and then they won
against LaSalle.
Against LaSalle,
yeah.
beating ending that streak. But it almost feels like is that almost like a fluke as part of a losing trend in these past few weeks for this team? It can be disorienting for the fans to see what's going on. But, everything is not lost. It's still a team that's highly competitive. But today's game was not what they wanted, not what they anticipated. 37% from the field for Fordham. VCU 45%. and especially from three. I've been talking about it all game long. VCU 46%, Fordham 30%. And just very difficult to win a game with numbers like that if you're Fordham. And then also from the free throw line, Fordham shot 37%, VCU shot 90%. Getting out rebounded 45 to 32. Getting in terms of assists, VCU out assisting, if that's a term, 19 to 13 VCU in terms of assists. And VCU actually turned the ball over more, 12 to 9, 12 for VCU to Fordham's 9. Still wasn't enough. Really just they have to go back to the drawing board and wonder how are they going to adjust after we've seen a game like this where it was definitely a winnable game that they lost complete momentum in the second half, and see what went wrong and where they can go from here to correct those mistakes.
Fordham gonna have to lick their wounds, Benjamin Oppenheimer, as they have a quick turnaround Wednesday the 19th. They're gonna take on Duquesne. Duke's a team that they beat earlier in the season off of a buzzer beater, but that win just feels so long ago, 76-57. That's going to be your final here from the Rosehill Gymnasium. We're going to kick it back to studio for Madi Dembele on play-by-play commentary. I was joined here by the wonderful Benjamin Oppenheimer and the illustrious Annabelle Watson on sideline reporting with the post-game report. It's going to be Daniel Melia along with Frank Spicuzza. And that's going to do it here from the Rosehill Gymnasium. Boys, take it away.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Well, here we are, Frank. The second half in this one, not nearly as exciting, unless you're a VCU fan, as the first. 76-57, we end it with the Rams trumping the Rams. And, well, a lot of the stuff we talked about at the half unfortunately came to pass in the exact opposite way from how Bridget Mitchell and Fordham would have hoped. This one got ugly quickly. Both teams regressed offensively. Fordham regressed a lot harder. We heard Ben mention that in the postgame. When you look at their team field goal percentage, down to 37.5, much closer to their season average of 37.5. You look at their three-point percentage, 30%, much closer than the first half marker, to their season percentage of 26.4%. This one really got away from them. And Frank, it just feels like let this be a lesson to everybody on how much of an impact Taylor Donaldson makes on this team.
Oh, man, I think that goes without saying. But if you don't want to say anything, I suppose you can take a look at the score and just have an equally important revelation about her importance. Well, definitely it's nothing to sneeze at. Taylor's importance has clearly been showcased here in her absence, almost a 20-point deficit there. But at the same time, I do think that there were also some positives that were shown from this. Although, her absence was unexpected, at least from last week, there were also definitely, some highlights amidst the sea of lowlights. I mean, Marua shooting about 60% from the field, cashing in 15 big ones today. Speaking of sneezing, that is also nothing to be snows at, if you will. That's fine.
I don't know about that conjugation there, partner.
Absolutely, right. Just trying things out around here. But no, that's definitely followed by Davis's 11 on 45% shooting. I think it just goes to show that while there is definitely a clear star of the team and a clear support, it's also not a one-trick pony. And that these girls are there to play. They're not there to, screw around or, put Miss Donaldson on a pedestal, but almost the opposite, but actually to get their hands dirtier in lieu of Taylor being on the court today.
You're right, and Ben made this point kind of in the post-game wrap-up that they did as well. This was a winnable game for Fordham. They were in it, really, until about the 6 or 7 minute marker in the third quarter. That's when VCU really just kind of got away from them, and, the offense changes once you go down by that much. You start getting more desperate. We certainly saw that from Fordham. But I do agree with you that there were some points for optimism going forward. I think Taya Davis is the number one. She's coming off that historic performance in terms of passing, back to her regular here with 4 assists, but I think she looked more confident, and that's something to feel good about, something to build on down the stretch. For Fordham, though, obviously, lots of stuff that needs to be cleaned up, and it's really, I think, got to start with inefficiency from Shea Harris. don't want to call her out too much. You get put in a tough spot without Taylor Donaldson. But 0 of 6 in the second half, 3 of 19 for the game. I think that that's honestly a product of the team just struggling to find the best shot on every possession. And I mean every possession. Really, with a few exceptions in the second half, it looked like they were forcing things offensively.
I couldn't agree more, and to sort of zoom in on a point you make there about struggling to find the right shot, I think, and you could even hear it in Mr. Madi Dembele's voice, this was just an unfathomably fast-paced game, and instead of taking a moment to bandage their wounds and to slow the game down, they continued to take erratic and unpracticed shots, ones that we certainly haven't seen, and we had talked over the halftime show about how VCU will be or Fordham, moreover, will be trying to adapt to VCU's knockdown three. But while Fordham was just trying to play catch-up and adapt to that beyond the arc, seemingly limitless range had by VCU, the Rams of Virginia, that is, certainly just amped up the pressure in the paint, taking it to the hole more than a number of times in this second half. So it became a complete defensive implosion, I would call it, for the Fordham Rams, Rams of the Bronx, but also just a general offensive disappointment. I think that there is, like I had said, definitely a lot to learn and a lot to grow from, but for the most part, this is going to be, I don't want to call it a stain, but certainly a darker mark on the schedule of the Fordham ladies.
Absolutely, and part of a continuing trend. On that point about the defense, obviously the perimeter defense was the issue, and we heard Ben say, and I got to say he took away one of our points in here, Taylor Donaldson's importance to the perimeter defense can't be underestimated. Coach Bridget Mitchell actually mentioned that in the pregame presser, and wow, that came to be true. But another thing that sticks out, which we haven't mentioned, and one of my favorite subjects to talk about, the battle on the glass. Look at the rebounding stats, 45-32 in favor of VCU. If you're going to struggle offensively, you have to make up for it somewhere, especially when you're just missing a ton of shots. There needs to be cleanup on the offensive glass. Both of them had pretty close, 15 for VCU on that part of the game, 14 for Fordham, but you need to win that if you are going to stay competitive, especially if another team is dominating from behind the arc like that. Let's look ahead here as we are wrapping up. So Fordham, okay, ugly loss. You're going to try and move on. Hopefully Taylor Donaldson, we heard from Coach Mitchell that she may be back next week. Don't know if that means, depends on when you think the week starts. Don't know if that means she'll be here for Duquesne. Kind of guessing not. So they'll be playing Duquesne as the Dukes come here to the Bronx this Wednesday. After that, 3 more games between them and the A-10 tournament. What do you think is your number one takeaway if you're in the locker room? Looking towards the schedule, what would you say to the girls in there as we embark on this critical last stretch of the season?
Well, certainly there are a few things that could be said, but to narrow it down to the one, I would argue the importance of the matching between your own game and the team's game. I think every single one of these girls is able to bring something to the table that could certainly put them in championship contention. However, finding the way in which to gel that with the team's play style and the general standing of how they play that nitty-gritty defense, like you had mentioned earlier. So I think if they're able to congeal into, one sort of united and completely cohesively understanding group, then we should be able to see quite a mass amount of success here in this postseason.
Well, let's hope that that is the case. A lot of credit to VCU here as we wind down. Don't want to neglect them whatsoever. Marianne Asari had 24 points on 9 of 17 from the field, 6 of 12 from downtown. Zoli Khalil, 19 points on 4 of 5 from downtown, and perfect 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Credit to VCU, and Beth O'Boyle made great halftime adjustments and came away with the win. They moved to 11-15, 5-9 in the A-10. Fordham drops to 13-12 overall and 7-7 in the A-10. And that will conclude our coverage here from the Rose Hill Studios and from the Rose Hill Gymnasium. Madi Dembele was the play-by-play man. He was joined by Ben Oppenheimer. The sidelines reporter was Annabelle Watson. Our producer here was Caleb Stein. Our engineer was Jordan Frankel. On updates was Frank Spicuzza. And studio hosting, I've been Daniel Melia. Fordham Women's Basketball is a production of 90.7 WFUV Sports.